friends. I'm Bobby Grenier, and that's my website right there where you can visit me. And today I'm planning on sharing with you some tips and tricks for making drag and drop activities in Google Slides. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, there you go. And anyhow, stick with me. I've got some really quick, easy things that you can do to teach students how to use labeling for drag and drop activities. So, oh, and while you're here, would you, let's see, other finger, that way, that way, that way. There we go. Subscribe to this channel. That way you're sure to get all of my announcements for videos that I upload. So anyhow, let's get started. Now here we are. We have, you're in my Google account. You're looking at a Google slide show that I put together to help explain this drag and drop activity. And I decided to just show you my desktop so that you can see my slides. And the reason for that is because when you put a Google slideshow into present mode, you cannot move the pieces around. They're in present mode and they're stable. They're not going to move around. So you kind of have to do this type of thing in edit mode. And that means your kids have to have access to their own version of your slideshow, which you can do that inside Google Classroom, and that's for another video. I'll make one and show you how to do that. But they need their own version of this slide presentation or your slide presentation that you create, and so that they can move the pieces around, and that's what makes it fun. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with the planning stage. So I'm going to show you how to use a drag and drop activity in Google Slides. So let's talk about implementation. You're going to be creating a labeling activity for a diagram where students can label the parts using draggable text boxes. So I have pulled together some things that we could play with so that I can show you how to do that exactly. So there we go. We're opening a blank slide, and I have already been in here. Let me move myself here so that you can see my, these are notes, speaker's notes, and this tells me what I need to do. And you know, this is a really good place to drop something like that, really just easy, even one word like I did, outlining for the students what it is they're supposed to do. Now underneath me here, let me pull me back down here, I have a map. So what I'm going to do, let me get over to where I need to be. There I am. And I'm going to grab this map and I'm going to pull it into my window. Now I'm going to put it over, let's see, like over here. But the thing about this map is that it is large and there's not a lot of room there for me to put in some directions. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to shrink it a little bit. I don't want to shrink it too much, but I do need to shrink it a little bit. I think I'll make that a little more comfortable on the page. Okay, now, so I've done that. And you saw kind of how I see the crossbar there. When you get the crossbar, that means that you can move the item. And you kind of have to be careful because if you get like here, see, I can resize the item when I get the arrow. So there's a difference between what allows you to be able to move it and what resizes it. So now I need to go back a little bit because I want to be able to put in a box. So my next step is I'm clicking right on the slide just to close that. I'm going to go up here to text box. Now I could also, if I just was going to do a title, I could go up and here, let me move myself so you can see. Oh, it closed it. Hang on a second now. I could go up here to insert and choose word art. And word art would let me like create a label that could go across the top. In fact, why don't we do that? We'll just say something like map labeling. How's that? Now, let me move myself out of the way here. I want to be able to see that. All right. And now once you type it in, all you have to do is just put your mouse onto the window like so and click it. All right. See, I got the crossbars. That's what I like about inserting text this way, is that it's really easy to work with it. I can resize it, and it's really easy to change the color. So I'm gonna be boring and just go let's go with like a nice blue or something like that. How about this blue? And then instead of a gray, I think I'd like a darker outline. So there we go. Now that's really big, so let's make it a lot smaller. And then I can just move that like over here or something like that. Let's see how that looks. All right, I'm gonna click right on there again, and that closes that. Now if I want to change that, all I have to do is go click on it and just like double click real quick. And okay, here we are now. We've got our map in place, and we've got the title of what the activity is in place. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to insert a text box. There we go. I'm going to type California. Now I put the title of the state in here, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to highlight it, and I'm just a little bit picky, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to center it. And then another little trick to get it right in the middle of your text box is click this one, and now it's perfectly centered. And so let's make the font a little bit bigger. So all I have to do is I can hit the plus, or I can do this and actually just come in and size it up that way. I kind of like hitting the plus because then I can watch it and see how it feels inside the window. And because I have put it perfectly in the center, as I enlarge it, it's going to continue to maintain its location. Let's see, 20. 20 looks good. All right, so now I kind of would like it to have a fill color. So let's make it nice and bright. Let's go with yellow. And you could even bold the text if you wanted. And what about, let's put a border on it. So let's use a black border. And then let's give it a width. So let's say right now let's try 2 pixels. Is that enough? Maybe 3 pixels. That looks good. Okay, now I click off the picture, and there I have my first label. So what can happen here is kids can drag and drop these. Now that label is pretty big. So why don't we resize it? I can come up here and kind of tighten that box up a little bit. Maybe just a little more. That's pretty good. All right. So now what will happen is when your students have their own version of your slideshow, and you tell them, you know, we're going to put some directions up here in a second, but you give them the directions on what to do, they'll be able to just click and drag these boxes to where the states are. And so they'll be able to label the states. Now, obviously my map is small. And so in this kind of activity, I would probably only give them, you know, maybe 5 or 6 states to place, just so that they could get them, you know, on top of the correct location without laying over other states. Okay, now let's lay in some directions. So once again, I'm going to hit the text box and come on over here. So when you get the crosshairs, you know that the text box is engaged. And all you have to do is click down and hold and drag the text box. All right. And I'm going to say click and drag each label to its correct state. All right, pretty easy directions. Yeah, you can make them as complicated as you want, but I'm just doing it this way. Just, you know, this is just a demo for you. So let's make it a little easier for the kids to read. 19, that ought to do it. And you can actually, if you want to move this up and down the page, you can. So you can grab like that. And isn't that cool? See, what it's doing is showing you that it's in alignment with the one next to it. But I'm gonna drag it down. So if I drag there, I'm centered, and I keep going. Now I'm in alignment with that top one. So let's say I do that. Now if I want to, I'm like, I don't kind of like it there. I could actually just grab this and slide that up. And there you have it. That is the labeling activity using little text boxes as clickable, draggable manipulatives. And you can make a variety of activities for your students. You can throw these together really quickly. Well, I hope you got some good tips from this little video. And I want to remind you that up there in the corner is my Twitter. Please follow me on Twitter. And down here is my website. And I would really, really love it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be producing a lot of these videos, and I love to share them with other educators. So until next time, I'm Bobby Grenier. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.